What is up, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you guys wake up to see this video, but what's up? Welcome back to another video. So today we're working on Ian's car.
What's up?
But we're doing something special. So a lot of you guys out there that have recently purchased a catch can and were like, man, I should probably switch to an AOS. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to switch from a catch can to an AOS. So I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what we've got going on here, but I'll give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we kind of have already done. Like I said, we knocked a lot of this out last night because with the with the catch can, a lot of these lines and stuff were already pre-done. So you have your passenger side breather hose, which is there. Then you have your driver's side breather hose, which is that front one there. You also have some nipples on the throttle body there. The most inner nipple, which you guys can see, the most inner nipple is going to connect to the hard line. Let's see if I can. Is going to connect to the hard line, which you guys can see right down there. So that inner nipple right there is going to connect to that breather line right there, right here. And then that outer nipple, this guy, if it'll focus, that inner nipple, the outer one right here, is going to come over and connect to this hose here. But a lot of you guys are probably wondering, we have already done the justice of deleting the hard line that goes all the way across. That is what the AOS does. It completely eliminates the need for that hard line for the stock PCV system. The hose that's to the furthest most front of the block is going to be routed all the way over and be the top line on your AOS. The middle is going to come around here and is going to go to the passenger side breather hose, which you guys see we haven't connected yet. We still have to cut it. Okay. And you have your two bottom coolant hoses. Your most outer one, which you guys can see, is going to come up, and we have it routed to go to the turbo right here. And then you have the one coming up that goes to your coolant expansion tank here. And then you have your third one, which is this bottom one, that routes around and goes down into this Y that IAG supplies you with, that goes into your block breather hose. So a lot of you guys that have big turbos, what me and Ian had to do was, you have your OEM, or the breather hose that IAG supplies you with, is like, it's this right here actually. It's a little like 1 inch, 2 inch section of 5/8 hose, and Ian is running an FP green turbo. So the issue we run into here is,
and a front mount as well, which also doesn't assist. Because of the clocking.
Yeah, it doesn't make it as easy, but it still can be done. But where'd the flashlight go?
It's in my pocket.
Oh, I might need that. Anyways, so if you guys come over here, you can see that the turbo itself, the Y fitting that IAG supplies you with down here, whenever you install it, it does not have enough room to get your hose. Which one is it? It's this one. Yeah, so it's this one.
The bottommost hose.
The bottommost hose comes up and over like this, and it's supposed to make like a loop. But because there's not enough room here, so what me and Ian did, and I'll show you guys over here. Now keep in mind, this is for you big turbo guys that are running an FP series with a front mount, that isn't a top mount location. What me and Ian did was we went to AutoZone and we got a close enough 5/8 hose that had a like 90-degree bend in it. Kind of like this. So what we did was we put that 90 in, if I can hold it. So we put that 90 in, and then we'll just say that this is the Y, okay? We put the piece in like this and had that piece, so if it's sitting like this in the motor now, okay? This goes on the block breather. It 90s past your turbo inlet. Your turbo inlet sits about here. It sits past your turbo inlet. We put that Y in with that nipple piece, still clocked about 30 to 45 degrees towards the center of the motor. And then you had your other piece coming straight out like this. So then we'll go back to the car. And that made it a lot easier to route the bottom hose here, wrap it around, and we went under the lines for the AC. So that bottommost hose on the AOS is going to go to that Y piece, which you guys see here. You can see where it Y's up here. We have it clocked at like a 30 to 45 degree angle towards the center of the motor. Your intercooler would be sitting roughly right here. We already would have taken that out, but we have that Y piece here clamped on, and then you have the other 5/8 hose. Sorry, this is a half, this is a 5/8. You have your 5/8 hose at 90s into the bottom port on your AOS. And I'm gonna tell you guys, getting that hose on the block breather, there's no fucking way in hell that you are ever in this entire universe going to get a clamp or anything on there. Take a fucking zip tie that IAG supplies you and just zip tie it. Now that we have all of those taken care of, all the lines are routed and everything, which I just showed you guys, to put that Y piece in if you're running a big turbo. In Ian's case, he is running an FP green.
Also, that being said as well, if you do want the number to cross-reference the hose we used.
That is, yeah, so it's the, so it's a Continental coolant hose, like actual legitimate coolant hose that they have at AutoZone. Now that we have the driver's side all the way ran around to the top, we have the passenger side, which is the middle port, looping over. We gotta cut that one, obviously. Then we have your bottom hose, which is making that 90 right into the block breather hose right here. We have all those taken care of, so now we have this top port, which is 3/8 line. You have your white connector here, or your valve in the middle. You wanna make sure there's an arrow on it, and it should be right between these two clips here. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that. So there you go. See that arrow on it right there? There's an arrow, which you guys can see right there. There's an arrow that is going to be pointing to the intake manifold. And then that is going to connect. There is a nipple right back there. There's a nipple right back there, which you guys can see that it connects to. And then that is gonna go to the top of the AOS, feeding right here. So then now that we have those taken care of, we are at the current state is taking these hoses that connect into your forward-facing nipples on the AOS. So you're gonna take, it really doesn't matter, but you're gonna take your 1/2-inch hose that they supplied you with, and you're gonna route it to this connection. Come on. You're gonna wanna route it to that connection that is on your intake. And then, hopefully after that, we can take both of these nipples here, are both breather hoses that recirc the air back into your intake. You don't necessarily need both of them. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is take this one, we're gonna go ahead and block it off. And as you guys can see, all the other nipples on the intake are already blocked off. And then there is one right back here that is, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, right there. That one's already blocked off as well. I'm gonna go ahead and just push that out of the way so that we have enough room to get to the big nipple right here, which I mentioned earlier. And then once we block that off, we should be all good. Went ahead, took that 90-degree out of the intake, which you guys can see right in there. Took that 90-degree out. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna route this hose just through here like that, and you guys can see it'll come out right there, right by the boost controller. So we probably could shorten it a little bit, or we'll pull it through just like that, and it'll go right through there, nice and snug. So we went ahead and put the front mount intercooler piping back on. We're gonna go ahead and mock it up as of right now, but you guys can see just how nice everything kind of fits in here. You guys can see right down there just how snug that 90-degree fit where the Y is. Nothing got in the way, nothing is rubbing. This is your crossover tube. It goes right through the piping, right through this little hole under the intake manifold, and right out through there. We're gonna go ahead and cut that. Right on, guys. So we got that clamped down. You guys can see there. So the next step is we're going to set that off to the side because we're done with that. And we're going to come over here to what we started on yesterday, which is the passenger side breather hose. We're going to route that one over here. You guys can see I've already got it routed, so we just need to cut it to length. All right, so me and Ian are in a debate right now. He's got an FP green. My buddy Vincent also has an FP series. He's got an FP blue. Now, me and Ian are actually in a debate on which turbo is actually bigger. I think he believes it's red, green, or red, blue, green, black, 0. I think it's red, blue, green, black, 0. So I'm going to do some research.
You just said the same thing.
Did I
He
really?
thinks the blue's bigger than the green.
Yeah, that's basically. I think the blue's bigger than the green, but I'm going to do some research real quick and look it up. It is confirmed. So the FP Blue is a 73 HTZ compressor housing size with a flow rating of 57 pounds per minute and a 58 millimeter stock appearing cover, which is your compressor housing. And then you go to the FP Green. It is a 76 HTZ compressor wheel with a 60 millimeter, it is a 60 millimeter compressor housing, 61 pounds per minute flow rating. So that gives you a little bit of difference on the size difference between these two turbos, but that's kind of funny. I always thought the FP Blue was bigger, but back to the issue at hand. We have taken the breather hose and routed it around. Got it clamped on there. Got it clamped on down there. So that one is routed and done for. So the only thing we have to put on now is our breather hose for the top of the AOS, which is going to go right through here and connect like that and kind of sit in the engine bay like that. And then we're going to go ahead and probably just block this port off because we don't need it. And then we should be done. We can bolt everything back on, start it up, and hopefully it runs right.
Hopefully.
I turned around to put my camera up on a higher level, and I just so happened to see this. And I swear to God, I thought that was a real lizard. Swear to God. I about just bit. Ow! It's so hard. Why is it so hard? Oh my God, dude. This thing is not rubber. This is like a hard... Ow. Ow. That hurt. Anyway, back to the issue at hand. Bada bing, bada boom, AOS installed on the Subaru. We'll give you guys a 100% background of everything that is installed as it sits right now. So we'll come over here first. Passenger side breather hose, front nipple, routes around to the middle on the AOS. Driver side, which is the front, routes around to the top of the AOS, which you guys can see there. All the way to the top, you have this one, this guy, making sure that you have your arrow pointing right into the block, or sorry, the intake manifold. And then we have our 90 coming off here, which Y's into the bottom there, and the 90 goes into the very bottom. You can't mess this 5/8 hose up because it's the only one that fits on the bottom there. Then you have your breather hose coming to the top, routing through to right there. But you guys can kind of see we got it all clamped up. Everything fits nicely. You also have your two coolant hoses. It does not matter which side goes where, but we just made it easy to where this one comes up, crosses over, goes to the turbo. Coolant expansion tank goes down and drains right into the bottom of the AOS. Just works better that way, in our opinion. That is how it's gonna sit in the engine bay, completely installed. We tried to route everything as nice and neatly as possible. You guys can kind of see everything looks pretty good. So, as you guys can see, kind of have everything buttoned up already, but went ahead and blocked off those two nipples there. Made sure all the hoses were ran properly. Got the intercooler piping back on and tightened down up front here. Also have the intake back on and tightened as well. But you guys can see we also blocked off this breather hose here. Made sure that it was tight, but everything is routed. You see that goes there. Everything is routed properly, tightened, clamped, etc., etc.
You got an eye on everything?
And bada bing, bada boom. AOS is installed. Just putting the battery back on. Everything is back on. So we have your hose routed there, which comes up top. That one's blocked off because you don't need it, because we have it recircling back into the intake just fine. We have your top hose here, routes over to the driver's side. You have your medium middle hose, which comes over here, which is right there. You can see the IAG mark on the front. And then you have your bottom hose, which is under the turbo right there. But you guys saw it earlier. You can kind of see it down there, but that's where your Y pipe is. And then you have your two bottom coolant connectors that go coolant expansion tank and to the turbo itself right here. On the AOS, you can see over here, there's this little Allen hole. That is where your coolant breather port is. Whenever you start it to burp the system to get the AOS to do its proper thing, you got to let the system burp through the AOS. All right, so coming back to it, it's a grabbed a 1/8 on the standard sides, and you might have to, depending on your the way you adjusted your AOS, you might need to pull your ABS lines out of the way just a hair, but really not a big deal. If I can get my fat hand out of the way, but you can see, I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen this up a little bit. Just enough so that the breather hose will start leaking out some coolant. So you guys can see there's actually a little rubber stopper in there. Make sure you don't back it out too far to where you lose that. Well guys, we are completely done. Went ahead and burped the system, which we just finished up with. Ian had bought some coolant, but just finished up burping the system. And then I made sure to loosen this bleeder screw over here until coolant was constantly coming out of it. It wasn't just dripping, but it was a constant stream. You do have to loosen it kind of far, but make sure not to back it out too far or else you run into an issue. But that is a AOS install going from a catch can to an AOS. If you guys learned something or this was helpful, and make sure to give it a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and I think that's going to do it for this one. So anyway, guys, stay spooling, my friends. Peace out.